I'd like to thank the Sons of the American Revolution, the Culpeper Minutemen chapter, for this movement that we're about ready to unleash within Virginia. I call it a movement because it's going to take some effort, but it really means something to me in particular. I'm an eighth generation son of great grandson of a revolutionary soldiers. Captain Samuel Burdick in Rhode Island, Captain John Kellogg in Massachusetts, and Private Samuel Russell from Loudoun County, Virginia. And this means a lot to me because what the Culpeper Minutemen did and what this flag and what this plate represents is our liberty. And that liberty we exercise every day, even by just gathering here or attending church or any numerous of functions, even just the free flow of going to your home and back to work. These are all liberties that we have in this country. And we will continue to have those God-given rights as long as we continue to exercise them. The moment we stop exercising those rights will be the death of our nation. And that's why it's important to give salute, to give honor to what the Minutemen fought for, which was the liberty and the right to live free, as free men and free women. And so I'm happy today to unveil this license plate, and with me to help with this, we also have Bill and Lonnie and Nick Freitas, the designer of this plate, Nate Clancy. Go ahead and stand up, Nate. He's our school board member. And Senator Jill Vogel. So we are very happy to have this opportunity to unveil this plate for you all to see. Now this plate is going to come with some work. And the first place that it's going to start is here, in this field, right where the Culpeper Minutemen mustered. We have registration forms for this plate that you can sign up and get it. We have to have 450 of them before it will even be entertained in the House of Delegates. So I wanted to bring up Senator Jill Vogel and Nick Freitas just to talk about real quick. Once we get the 450 registrations for the plate, then the patroning process and what that looks like.
Good evening. You're so quiet. Nick told me to go first because my whole deal is I got to warm up the crowd and get you ready for 450 prepaid applications. That's my job here. I'm Senator Jill Vogel, and it's a great honor to be part of this process and to represent part of Culpeper in the State Senate of Virginia, and to be here and to be part of this process and part of this special unveiling this evening. I should tell you a little secret, and it won't be a little secret anymore to Nick, but when I was first elected in the Senate of Virginia, I was told by my colleagues, perhaps a little too late, and maybe I'm telling Nick a little too late, that there were 3 things you should never, ever do your first year as a freshman in the legislature. You should never introduce a piece of legislation associated with a state song. You should never introduce a bill having to do with an animal, a dog or a cat bill or anything like that. And you should never try to introduce a license plate bill, because they are really hard to do. But I will tell you that Nick is working in partnership with the right people, because it's meant to be a high threshold and a hard thing to introduce and pass a bill to have a new license plate in the Commonwealth of Virginia, because it's meant to be special. It's truly meant to be special, which is why when you drive up and down the highway, you don't see hundreds of special designated license plates. And it's because, in fact, it's a high threshold and it's hard to do. And it's meant to be for things like this, for organizations, and to represent and to honor things that are special. And so with that, I can tell you that I don't have any concern or very many worries about the fact that we can do this. Absolutely we can do this. This is something to be proud of, and it's those things that Virginians and folks in the Commonwealth of Virginia like our history. the things that we want to remember and that we want to express pride in and that we want to follow a car and sit behind them and reflect on that, those are the things that we want to commemorate in Virginia's commemorative license plates. So Nick just wanted me to take a moment to tell you how that process works, and they've mentioned that before. It requires 450 prepaid applications for that license plate. And then, much to most people's surprise, getting this license plate to become a reality in the Commonwealth of Virginia is a piece of legislation, which is kind of surprising. And in the course of any one legislative year for the General Assembly, in some years it's 45 days, in others it's 60 days, we consider somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 bills and resolutions, and that's a lot. And in any one legislative session, there are always several license plate bills. And it is always the case that somebody comes with great zeal and great excitement over a bill, and it's not that easy. They come with the bill and they introduce it, and guess what? They're not a lot of, they're not 450 people that want a duck designated license plate for the Commonwealth of Virginia. So in this case, what you need those 450 applications prior to us introducing that legislation in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So it gets introduced in committee on the House side, it gets introduced in committee on the Senate side if there's a Senate patron, which I would love to do for you. And then if it passes the Senate and passes the House, it goes to the other body. And then the legislature authorizes it. If it passes both bodies and then passes the full Senate and the full House, then it goes to the governor. And just like any bill, the governors in the past have signed those authorizations, and then they have also vetoed them in some cases if the governor didn't agree with the message or he didn't agree with what the legislature was seeking to commemorate. So in this case, I have no worries, but I do encourage you to work hard and sign people up, and I'm really, truly honored again to be part of this. And without further ado, I will ask Nick to come up. Nick's going to do the hard work, right? Good job. And I'm not going to let him do a dog bill.
Yeah. No dog bills, not yet. I'll wait for the second time around. No, I want to thank Senator Vogel for being here, Councilman John Russell, School Board Member Tom Clancy, and of course all of the Culpeper Minutemen. This truly is an honor for me to be able to put this forward as one of my first pieces of legislation. For those of you who don't know me, I'm running unopposed for the 30th District, so you'll be stuck with me for at least 2 years in the House of Delegates. And we're really looking forward to again, having this be our first piece of legislation that we submit. I can tell you as a veteran, this is really important to me personally. I love Virginia. I love the fact that in Virginia, I think we're more connected to our history and what it means to be an American here than perhaps anywhere else in the country. And specifically with an organization like the Culpeper Minutemen, again, being a veteran, we were always taught to respect and revere the soldiers, the sailors, the airmen, Marines that have come before us, that had created the reputation that the rest of us were operating under, and that it was incumbent upon us to contribute to that reputation. And with the Culpeper Minutemen, this is one of the places in this country where it really started. When you think about what it means to be an American, what it means to serve your country, this is one of the places that started it all off. And it's great to see a lot of kids and a lot of young people out here as well, because I think sometimes we get caught up in history as being something that happened so long ago, and this was over 200 years old, but this really is your history. And it's something that I want you to think about, and it's something that I want you to take the time to speak to the men here that are part of the Sons of the American Revolution and the Culpeper Minutemen chapter. Because keeping that history alive and remembering it and having that connection with it, that's the way that you ensure that future generations believe in this country and are willing to fight for this country. So again, it is my very sincere privilege to be able to patron this legislation in the House. And I thank you all very much for coming here today. And please, please sign up, register to get a plate, register to get 2 plates. You can buy the other car later, don't worry about it. All right, but again, thank you all very much for being here.